I thought I was done with the basketball. I thought I would never touch it again. I thought I would never want to be a part of it again. Coaching it, helping people with it, I never wanted to be a part of basketball again, because what it did to me was reminding me that I failed. You should have enough faith that you believe you can do everything, because man, what y'all done is amazing. Like, nobody thought you could do something like that around here. But no, the glory of the story was the homelessness. The glory of the story was the failures in high school. The glory of the story was getting kicked out of school and college. The glory of the story was getting fired. The glory of the story was losing things and thinking I couldn't get it back. And God saying, oh, I can restore you with more. Everything
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Ronnie Crudup Jr., one of the founders of the ARC. I'm here with Charles Lewis, other co-founder of the ARC. We're here to kind of just talk about a new ideal that Charles kind of bringing to light of sort of some stories, trying to highlight some different stories that's going on around the city of Jackson, but also the state of Mississippi, dealing with a lot of guys and young ladies who are coming out of different backgrounds, from sports to other ways. And so just tell us a little bit about the idea, Charles, what you're trying to come up with.
Okay, the idea of it, the theme of it is the glory in the story. That's actually the name of it, the glory of the story. Just basically, most people feel like the glory in their story is once I make it to the end to get the triumph. But what I want to highlight is the things that you go through to get to that triumph of the story. And to me, that's really the glory of it. When I can face all the obstacles, make it through all the tough times, the adversity, and then get to the end. And we want to lift up the trophy at the end, but the thing that make that trophy so sweet is all the battles, all the small wins and losses on getting to that point. And so just highlighting the people who, may have had some triumphs, and then, it kind of started to get rocky, shaky, go down, and then you found yourself getting back up to having glory at the end. And so just knowing that the things you go through is really what makes the triumph in the story.
Well, that's great. I mean, that's a great, kind of segue to talk about, let's talk about your story, because everybody has a story. So let's talk about your story, sort of how you got to this place where you are now, where you can talk to a lot of these young men and young ladies about what they're going through in their story. So tell us a little bit from where you came from. I've been knowing you since you were little, but let's not go all the way back there, but let's start pretty much like right from high school kind of going up.
Okay, well, like high school, just playing basketball, that was my thing. High level ball player, high level AAU, was one of the top players nationwide at one time, and just really into it big. And I mean, all my focus went to basketball. But of course, you start to get older, circumstances and different things start to change, and so you start to kind of get your attention in other places. And after high school, I didn't do the best with my grades. I wasn't doing the best with how serious I was taking it, just knowing I was good and I could just get up and play. And so many small mistakes that I just looked over as important pieces to life. And I kind of got away from how serious I was. And so it's just kind of, those adversities start to pile up.
Okay.
And so going through college, went to Hines my first year, ended up getting academically suspended to where I had to go to summer school. After summer school, I couldn't play again that next year, so I just was like, forget it, I'm going home. Went home for a while, for about a year. Then I went back to school to Colin, and then I started, getting that passion back for it. And had a great year, 3.7 GPA. I was averaging like 14.7 assists. South Alabama was really recruiting me heavy, and I was verbally committed. That's where I was going to go. But of course, at this time, I have 2 children.
Okay.
And so it was just kind of the idea of, man, do I go on to school or do I go home? And I decided to go home. Of course, when you're, looking at being, trying to be there for your children. So that was my choice. I was a little frustrated with it. It took me 2 years to get a job.
Okay.
I still have 2 years of eligibility left.
Okay.
And so just feeling like, man, I could have been playing ball. But, decision was made. I went on, still trying to, do my father thing, got married. A lot of it didn't work out. Life took its own turn. And so I kind of ran from basketball. I ran from working with youth. I ran from that because I felt like I have so many mistakes that I've made. I got so much in my life that I haven't done right. How can I tell somebody else? And about age 26, God started saying, hey, I want you to use basketball to reach to you. I want you to use basketball to reach to you. And I was like, God, not me. I've done so much bad, you know. And the thing with God is he's gonna make you do what he wants you to. And so at this point, I was just job to job. I couldn't keep a job to save my life. I was just getting fired. And so I was like, okay, what's going on? And so God would always tell me anytime I got fired, go do what I asked you to. Go do what I asked you to. I never would. So I basically got down to rock bottom, had kind of lost everything, lost jobs, you know, girlfriends and all this stuff. Everything was gone. Lost a home. Everything just kind of piled up on me at one time. And so I was really left without a choice but to just do what God was telling me to. And so when I finally prayed about it and God made it clear, this is what I want you to do. I made up my mind that day and I left. I was at a retreat. I left that retreat and I just went home and I had about 5 job interviews lined up. I walked into every one of those interviews and I told them, I'm going to be a basketball trainer. You can get this job to somebody else. And of course, you know, everybody was mad at me. What are you doing? I set that up for you. I called that person. And I just kept telling them, God told me I'm going to train basketball. I'm going to be a basketball trainer. And, you know, when God is doing it, he will make the people you want to support you and be the closest to you and do everything with you. They'll be the ones that tell you that that's not what you're supposed to do. And so when it was people that were close to me saying, you're not going to do this. And I was like, God, wait a minute. That person was who I thought would help me. Why are they saying no? God was saying, if y'all do it together, then it'll look like y'all did it. It won't look like me. I'll put the people in place. I'll do this. And so a couple of years go by and that's when you call me and say, hey, I'm thinking basketball and God showed me you. And you know how our story goes. I didn't want to tell you about, you know, what I was thinking because I got tired of people saying, hey, that's not going to work. But when I finally told you and you were like, oh man, same thing I was thinking. It was confirming what God had been telling me that he'll put the people in place. And
let's stop there let's pause real quick because going back from my end of the story is I know how to hear from God. And I heard God clear as day say, go and get Tony. You know, a lot of folks know him as Charles, you know, but I've been known for Tony years. So, but I heard God clear as day say, go get Tony. And at that point, you know, me and his brother was best friends for years. And so, like, okay. And I called you up, said, hey, Tony, hey, I just want you to come work for me. You were like, I don't know if I wanted to come do that. Because I was running the after school program at that point. And you was like, well, we'll see. I'm like, okay, Lord, I did it. He kind of rejected me, you know, but then I think some months went by, I heard God say again, go get Tony. And so I called you. This time you said, hey, let's go. Let's go. And so that kind of got to the point where, like you said, I called you. They said, hey, we had the gym, the old hot box.
The hot box.
We had, you know, Charles was coming in playing basketball, and I was opening it probably in high school.
Yeah, I was in high school.
He was in high school.
I was like in 19th grade.
Yeah, but I was in my 20s trying to, I didn't play basketball, but I knew enough. I knew guys were attracted to basketball.
Yep.
But even during those times, I saw the leadership skills in you. You know, when I need to go run off somewhere.
Yeah, I remember.
And I was like, Charles, close the gym up for me. Make sure everything's straight and everything. He's like, I got it. And I just doing that sometimes, just saw the consistency of it. I knew then, who could I get to run this? God put you on my mind. And so I just knew from this time, like I said, the story of it, of, you know, God is always intervening and always making moves.
Yeah, he is.
Even when we don't know it, you know. And so just going back again now to the story, you're saying then we got the ideal of TDA. You said, running, hey, I got this ideal of basketball. You were like, hey, let's go. So tell me a little bit more about just kind of how the TDA part of it is.
Well, when God was telling me this, I only knew basketball.
Okay.
At the retreat I was talking about, it was a group of kids that came, and I just started teaching them stuff, and I noticed that when they went from training on a drill, they started to say, hey, coach, I wanted to fight this dude and this, and this. And I was, you know, no, man, you don't have to do that. You know, just giving them advice past basketball. And I realized how the basketball stuff opened up just regular life. And so I was like, okay, God, I could see myself doing this. But like I said, at that time, just kind of needing a place of my own, not having a job, wondering what I could do. So when I got back, it was like immediately when I got back, that's when you called. You know me, we grew up in the church. I knew of God, but I didn't actually what I say, experience God is what I like to say.
Yeah.
You know, you can know something, but never experience. And I had never experienced God. So he was answering my prayers so fast that I kind of started to get scared. Because at the retreat, it was like when I was like, God, what am I living for? As soon as I asked him that, he brought the youth to me. When I said, okay, God, what am I going to do with the youth? Right after I said that, we were walking in the woods, it opens up into a basketball court. And so now I'm like, okay, God, so now what's next? I know basketball, I know youth. How do I turn this into something? How do I monetize it? Do I just go get them? How do I make it a business? How do I legitimize it? And so that's when you was coming and just saying, hey, just come open the gym. So God was putting this logo that we see right here, he showed that to me in like 2012. And all I saw was the court. I didn't know if it was a gym. So when we first came, I didn't think it would be the hot box and we would work our way to this. I thought, oh, we're gonna just walk out here and get a new gym. God showed me this gym and we gonna get it. Cause you know how fast he was answering the prayers. I was like, okay, so we'll have a gym tomorrow. And so me and Denzel went looking for gyms, and that's when you called again the second time. And I was like, okay. Cause God told me, I didn't tell you it would be new, but I told you I could get you a place to do this. Here it is, and you keep turning it down. And so I was like, okay, God, this is you. Cause you know, I'm looking at it like, okay, God, is this something that you are making happen for me? Or is this just because, oh, I know Ronnie and I can get this favor, you know what I'm saying? But God was like, no, that's the person that I have for you. And so I was like, okay, cool, God. And so, boom, we start the hot box, I agree. And we were rolling and getting those kids in. And man, on your side of the story, and this is the adversity and triumph part. With everything I was going through, like I said, just kind of being homeless at the time. I don't really like to say that, but you know, that was just the reality of it. I didn't have anywhere to go. And just kind of looking at, okay, God, I'm doing all this with no guarantees that I get anything, no guarantees that anything will happen. This is just strictly because you told me to. And so, those moments, the glory moments, the real glory moments were days where I'm wondering, like, how am I gonna eat today? You know what I'm saying? And I got 40, 50 kids in the gym. You know how I used to be. Yeah. And I haven't got a dime. And I'm like, God, how am I gonna eat? And a parent would just walk up and say, I love what you do with the kids and give me $100, or something like that. And so God would do small things to just keep me motivated, keep me going. And then just you on the other side, just constantly coming, hey, we're gonna try this. Hey, I talked to this person, they're gonna come by, we're gonna meet with them and tell them about this. And you remember how many times we would meet with these people and they would promise us this stuff and we never get it, or they say, oh, I can get you $10,000. And then they bring us one and it's like, what we supposed to do with this? And so, it started to get that frustrating, and you know what I'm saying?
But even then, God still is working in the meantime. You going back to the point where, like I said, you were homeless. Well, you were staying with your brother, I think, at that point. And so not having a place necessarily of your own, but how God works it out, the place where the hot box is, a person called me about a house, literally,
it's 2 minutes away.
2 minutes away from where it was. And I'm like, okay, Lord, every time I get a house call, I'm like, Lord, who is this for? And I heard again, Charles. And so at that point, I didn't have the money to pay for it, but I had a friend I knew who said, to run it. Anytime the opportunity comes up, you need somebody to buy a house, a really good deal, call me. So I called him. I said, listen, I got a house. I want to put a young man in. Can you work the deal? He said, okay, Ronnie, I get it. You get it renovated. I'll pay for the renovation, and then we're going to get Charles in. And that's how it happened. And then the point is, he didn't even have a vehicle.
Man.
But it worked out. We got you a bike. And it was like,
it was everything.
And again, it's 2 minutes away. So it's like, you know what? God can still work it out. And so even in those fine details, those things you think that God's not paying attention, he's paying attention to every detail of it, because that makes the story. Because people know that God said, I'll supply all your needs.
He will.
And so that way he supply all your needs from not only from the food, but also even from the housing aspect. To the place of work. Because our agreement was, we first started, like, listen, I'm gonna pay you 5 hours, to work at the after school program. I said, I'm gonna give you the keys to the gym. I'm gonna let you figure out how to make the other money.
Yep.
And I said, we're gonna try to figure out how to make the other money. And that's kind of how we did it until the point you said, run it. I'm too busy now, I can't even run the after school no more. And that's how I wanted it. It was a point of just growth and learning how to really build it and make it sustainable financially to the point we are now. And so again, just going back, that God always is working on our behalf to share those stories to be able to help other people. The Bible says, not only we have not because we ask not, but it says, we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the power of our testimony.
Yep.
And so your testimony, your stories in this of showing how you've overcome, and the story's not finished.
It's not.
It's not finished.
It's not finished at all.
But even get to the point now, let's bring it back full circle now, where we are now. Like you're saying, you and Denzel, y'all got that going. We started some Friday Night Hoops actually years ago.
Yeah.
And it went good for a while, but then we said,
I think
it was like in 2022.
Yeah.
We said, let's start it again, because y'all had all the kids coming. And tell us a little bit more about that, Hard 8.
Well, with the Friday Night Hoops, when we were talking about it, it was just a thing of getting kids to have something to do. A lot of the trouble going on in the city was younger kids, and so we just wanted to have it. We can get you in the gym on Friday night, where by the time you finish playing, you too tired to go get in trouble.
Yep.
We did our part, and it was amazing because we had John Knight Sr. helping us. He was bringing in some guys, him and Al, and so just to see all the different demographics of kids from different areas, different neighborhoods, different backgrounds, some at risk, some were, you were your role model kids, all in one place.
John Knight Jr., he was still in high school.
John Knight Jr. was still in high school. Yep. Man, that's how long ago it is. He was still in high school at the time. And so, man, it was just amazing knowing that many kids were interested in coming to play basketball during a time, because like 8 p.m. to midnight.
Yep.
Basketball's done. 8 o'clock, I'm going home. I'm chilling now. I'm not, so we could get 100 plus kids in there. And then remember when it got so big, we had to start opening up the game rooms and just trying to do stuff. We got 190 kids in there with one court. Yep. And so, it's so many downs, and you try to, hey, well, y'all go in here and do this until your turn come, And so it was amazing, man. But just knowing the power of it all boiled down with me, and like I said, with the glory in the story, where I thought, especially after leaving college, I thought I was done with the basketball. I thought I would never touch it again. I thought I would never want to be a part of it again. Coaching it, helping people with it, I never wanted to be a part of basketball again, because what it did to me was reminding me that I failed. I should have been getting paid to play somewhere. And to me, it just was a constant reminder. Whenever I saw a basketball, whenever I went somewhere where they were playing basketball, I had to answer the question, man, what happened?
Yeah.
And so for me, that was the biggest part of like my regret is I have to tell you that I'm a failure. You know what I'm saying? That was my thought. And what God did was he turned it around. Okay. He made it this story where I was saying I'm a failure is really the biggest reason why I get so many kids to train with me now. Yeah. What my failures or this testimony is what pulls the kids in, because now they say, hey, well, if I can hear from you, if I can hear what not to do, that'll help me.
They know you don't have it all together. You didn't have it all together. You got a story that a lot of time they have went through, or they look like they may be going through.
And so it's relatable for them. And with God, the gift that God gave me is what we're doing now, speaking. A lot of people hear basketball. Basketball is the passion. Basketball is something I love, but the gift God truly gave me was the ability to be able to speak and get them to hear me. And I thank him for it, because most of the time when I'm doing drills, like I tell people all the time, training, hey, y'all, these drills are cool. When I'm opening my mouth and giving you some information, I need you to be all ears, because that could be the most important part versus, continuously drilling. And, just being able to be in this space where, man, I talk to so many different kids now, just everywhere I go, it's a conversation. Somebody wants to talk, and I have to remember who I'm doing it for, because I get in my spaces where it's like, hey, when I go out these places sometimes, I don't want to be Coach Charles. If I'm out at a restaurant, hey, I'm not Coach Charles, I'm just Charles. I just want to eat. I don't want to, but I know that talk about, hey, my baby is 6 foot now. Yeah. I know I could say something in that conversation that, hey, that person may need to hear. God may want me to say this to this person. So I have to fight myself with that sometimes, where it's like, I don't feel like being bothered. Why y'all talking to me? But God had to, hey, this is what I have you doing. Remember now, when you didn't have this, what was your life? Yeah. So be happy with it. And so just And like you said, the story's not finished. Just knowing God is constantly at work. God is constantly doing things. I mean, with this place, when we first got it, it was just furniture.
Yep.
And just even going into this, like Glory and Stories, getting fired from Hillcrest, thinking that that's the worst possible thing that could happen to me at the time. Not knowing that God was
At that
actually.
point, let's go back because really, like I said, you were working for me for a while doing the after school, but then the basketball part took off.
Oh, yeah.
So Hillcrest saw you, and Hillcrest offered you a job.
Yeah.
To come and work for them.
Yep.
So you worked for them for how many years?
It was about 3 years, maybe 4 seasons.
Okay.
And yeah, I was training one of their babies, and the way it went there, it was so amazing. I was training one of the girls that went there. They were in 5th grade. 5th grade teams there just have a volunteer parent coaching. This baby was like, I'm serious about my game.
Okay.
I don't want just a volunteer parent coaching me. Coach Charles, can you come do it? And so I was like, I don't know, and she gave me the puppy dog eyes, and I was like, okay, I got you. Not knowing that, God was taking me, I always say people and things are for reasons and seasons. And God was taking me to this season to kind of show me something different, to teach me something, to get me, to kind of level you up, get you prepared for the next thing. And so when I got there, of course, it's different for me. I had never really coached outside of AAU before. Okay. And so being a head coach, all the responsibility, everything. And so we did good. We went undefeated that year.
Okay.
My 6th grade girls had they had only scored 10 points the entire year. We scored 10 points the first game, and we lost, so I was, of course, mad, and everybody was, great job, coach, and I'm like, man, we lost, what y'all so happy for? But they were like, we only scored 10 points the whole season last year. Y'all scored 10 points in the game. Great job. So I was like, oh, it was that bad? And then one parent was like, coach, they were actually sitting down in the middle of the floor, in the middle of the game, doing each other hair while the game going on. Like the ball just going past them. Yeah. And so they was like, for you to get them to actually run and play, great job.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, this is what you got yourself into. But from that season, I kind of moved up to JV. The coach there at the time, varsity head coach, was Charlie Warner. And I was just keeping stats for him. And I'd never forget, it was South State Championship game. And I just, I played my role, and I was like, coach, that corner wide open on that zone. And this guy gave me the clipboard. He was like, draw that play up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, it's the middle of the championship game. You giving it to me, the stat man? He was like, yeah, show them that play. Okay, I drew it up. They went out there and executed. Granted, it's not a hero story. We lost. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We lost. My play did work though. We hit a 3. We hit a couple shots, but we still lost the game. And just that moment, just learning. I believe at that time what God was showing me was being a leader without having to actually be the end all be all. Yeah. He was showing me that with you, because you always was like, hey, I can get you started, then it's on you. You know what I'm saying? That's how this coach was. He was, like I said, I'm just 4th coach assistant. I'm the stat guy. Yeah. That's all I do is keep the stats. I don't even supposed to say nothing. And the fact that in that time for me to just say, hey, coach, that corner's open, and him to say, hey, draw something up for that. Yeah. And it was like, hey, this is the middle of the championship game, and you still willing. And he told me after that game that if I had you on staff, that means I trust your word enough, I trust your knowledge enough, that you can tell me something in the middle of the game and I can use it. And I was like, man. And so from that point on, he was charged, if you see something, let me know. Okay. And so just, God teaching and showing. And so, moving on from there. So now he leaves. The lead assistant moves up to head coach. Now I'm the lead assistant now. Okay. And so just, it was great, man, getting kids coming in, because my thing with that was I'm always helping kids. So it may be a kid, you may go to another school, you may not get in the game at all. I say, hey, Ronnie, you don't play at your school? Yeah. Hey, come here, we'll train, we'll work out, you may get some minutes here. And so that's what I was doing, is kind of taking kids who didn't have an opportunity, trying to give them an opportunity. And so, I mean, we were having some pretty successful seasons, but the year of the firing, just getting straight to the point, the firing wasn't even about them, it was about me. Yeah. God told me that summer, don't go back. But I had probably got like 35 kids to commit to going to this school, just from like elementary on up. And I was like, God, I got all these kids going here. How can I not just not go back? How can I just say no? Hey, y'all, I'm not gonna be there when they're coming to play for me. And so God was like, you let me take care of that. You just don't go back. And of course, I went back because I'm thinking, I can't let these people down like that. And from the time I went back, it just spiraled down. It just spiraled down. Everything was going bad. And I was like, and I just remember every time something would happen, I would tell Denzel and Jody and Coach Dixon, y'all, this is my fault because I'm not supposed to be here. And they were like, why won't you stop saying it? And I was like, because I knew what God told me. You know what I'm saying? And I just kept telling them every time something would happen, there'd be an incident with a parent, an incident with one of the leaders at the school. And I just kept saying, y'all, that's my fault because I'm not supposed to be here. And so even then, while the season was going, God would still tell me, you can still leave now.
Yeah.
You can still go, leave. And I'd be like, but God, we're in the middle of the season. I kept making excuses. And so finally, we got fired. And I was so upset because these were people who, I worked for free for my first 2 years.
Okay.
I mean, just kind of training kids and putting in extra time. They're doing school. You know, I was there pretty much all day, just whatever class period, because JV may come in this period. I'm there for their practice. Middle school may come in this period. I'm there for their practice. Varsity will come in for that period. I'm there for that practice. And then we'll do something after school. So I'm there all day now.
Okay.
And so it hurt my feelings so bad because, you know, I'm a loyalty guy. So I'm like, man, I was so loyal to y'all. I did everything y'all wanted me to do. And you just made up a reason to get rid of me. And so when it happened, I had my dreadlocks, my free-form dreadlocks and all this stuff. And God was like, clean it up. And I was like, what are you talking about, God? I just got fired.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to, you know, go through this right now. Because I get the phone call. Hey, it's December 31st. Happy New Year, Charles. We just calling to let you know that you've been relieved of your duties. Huh?
Yeah.
Happy New Year, you know? And so it was like, okay. Because like I said, God had to hurt my feelings for being disobedient. And so I'm like, man, God. And he was like, it's all good. Clean it up. What? Clean it up. Clean what up, God? Clean your life up. Okay, so I go clean up the house. He's like, okay, good job. Now, clean it up. What are you talking about, God? Cut your hair.
Yeah.
What? Cut your hair. Now? Right now. Grab the scissors. Boom, boom. Taking chunks. I had the freeform dreads, cutting them off. Okay, God, now what? Just chill, you'll be fine. Wait? You don't make me do all this just to wait? Okay, so I'm waiting. And AAU's coming up. So, okay, cool. This will take my mind off everything. I got AAU. Had my AAU tryouts. We get going. I'll never forget, we had that Friday night hoops. That's when we first started having it back.
Yeah.
We had started it back up. And I just remember Bishop, the big dog I like to call him, saying, hey, y'all need some more room, don't you? And I was like, yeah, we do. He was like, okay. And so I was like, okay, I don't know what that means, but I feel good about it, you know? And so after an AAU trip, we were going on an AAU trip. This was the Friday getting ready to go. He and Isaac were coming to get a haircut. And I had a bunch of parents and people up there waiting with me. And he was like, what's going on up here? I was like, we're about to go on an AAU trip. And he was like, all these people with you? And I was like, yes, sir. And he was like, gave me that look again. Okay. I don't know what this look means, but I just think it's good. And so I never forget coming back, we get back, and you had called me. You were like, you back yet? I said, no, I'm not back yet. What's up? I need to talk to you when you get back. And so I remember pulling up to the gate. I don't know if you remember, I pulled up to the gate. You were already there opening the gate. And so I was like, okay, he's kind of anxious. What did I do wrong? Did I leave the alarms on or did I mess something up? But you were smiling so hard, so I was like, gotta be something good. And you were just like, yeah, we're gonna get the building. I was like, what? Oh yeah, my daddy gonna give us that building. And I was like, so what we gotta do? What we gotta do to get it? Like he was like, we got it. We good. It's gonna be straight. And I'm like, nah, it can't be this. Like God, it can't be like, we don't, like what we gotta do, I know we gotta do something. Like God, you not just, cause once again, I'm new to him, just, experiencing him and seeing how he works so fast because I just got fired. You know what I'm saying? And I'm supposed to be sad right now. I'm supposed to be mad about, stuff going on. And what God was telling me was, no, you're prolonging me.
Cause that fire, and be honest, sometimes we need that push. Sometimes we need to be pushed out the way, pushed into the next, season of our life. Cause not, you'd have been content just being there, doing this, being the, like I said, the second man, the assistant the whole time. God, like, no, I got something that's better for you. And so that's the thing in life. Sometimes all firings are not bad. Sometimes a firing may God be pushing you to the next level. Say, I got something that's better for you to do. And so I'm glad you looked at it from a point of not seeing it as a, hey, I'm gonna go take it out on them and this and that. Like no, they said God was talking to you the whole time about it anyway.
Oh yeah, because I want it so badly, even now, and just speaking on that, because it's crazy. We played Hillcrest the other day. Okay. And it's crazy, man. One of the parents there, that was my guy. And like, he was like one of the main ones, like, hey, yeah, get rid of those coaches. And he was just like, man, I thought you were my guy. And so I held the grudge so, you know what I'm saying? Cause like I said, I'm a loyalty guy. So it's like, hey, I went out of my way for you and your child so much. I can't believe, and even with that, what really bothered me was after it happened, it took 3 months for you to even say, are you okay? You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, everything good, bro? Like, and I was just like, man, so maybe you really were the main person pushing for me because I haven't even heard from you. But once I kind of got God saying, hey, no, I did it. And it just helped me let stuff go. Okay. Because I had to start to realize it's not even about them. Because when I want to be mad at them, I look at how blessed I am since. I look at what God has done since. And I say, God, that wasn't about them. That was really about me. Because you told me in June before I had a chance to be mad about something they could do, don't go back, Charles. You told me not to go back. You've been trying to have that for me. But I was the one that was, but God, I want to please the people instead of you. And he kept saying, no, you trying to please them. I'll take care of them. You just do what I'm asking you, and I wanted to, but God. That's one of the things now I struggle with because I know one of the reasons why he placed me here is, hey, I got you here to do for my people. But the thing that I have to remember is even though I'm doing for his people, if I don't have him to tell me what's next for me, then what I'm doing for his people won't be effective. And so
let's go to the last thing I know we've been talking for a while.
Oh yeah.
But one of the beautiful things is you said when you got pushed sort of out of that and God had something that's better for you to do. You got a chance to now train some top athletes around the country. And so just give me a few names of folks that you trained sort of since then, because if you were still at Hillcrest, that probably wouldn't even happen.
That probably wouldn't have happened. Oh man, the biggest name everybody's gonna know is Madison Booker. Okay. Maddie, the killer I like to call her, because she gonna go get a kill. She's a bucket getter. You got John Knight III, who we was just talking about. John Knight is playing with the Rio Grande Valley Vipers. That's the Houston Rockets G League affiliate. George Marshall's at Morehead State, went to Forest Hill, Dandy Dozen, Junior College All-American. J.K. Williams at ULM. Man, there's so many names. Eric Payman, he signed with Mississippi State. Man, his names I'm forgetting. Wesley Lindsay just signed with USM. You got Avery down at Jones. You got Cam Beverly, KJ, Trey Alexander. Man, I'm forgetting names, man. If I forgot you, I'm sorry. From Devin Basekins, Cam Woodalls to, oh man, the girls. Oh man, if it's one of the, if she's a good girl right now, Jada Gay, Ayla Benson, Ava Young, Malia McSellis. Oh man, so many. So many people. But I've been blessed, man. I've been in Mexico training guys. Me and Denzel had a regimen right after we got fired from Hillcrest, where we were going to First Baptist, Ridgeland High School, Florence, Madison Central, Hazelhurst, and Mendenhall to train. That was kind of our weekly regimen where we were just all over the place training. And it's crazy because when it happened, and I was just talking to somebody about this, when the firing happened, what we looked at, remember when it happened, I remember I told you, go ahead and book the hot box out, man. We don't have to use it no more. So it was booked when we were trying to use it. But what God had us do was go in all these places. But now when you look at the Ark here, right in South Jackson, most of the people that we get are those clients that we got from all those outskirt places because we had to go there and now people know about us. I thought there was an inconvenience at first because I was used to having, we always had our own gym to go to. But I just think about how many people that didn't know the hot box was right there or wouldn't know that this is right here if we didn't have to go to Ridgeland. We didn't have to go to Madison Central. We didn't have to go to Hazelhurst. We didn't have to go to Mendenhall. We would never meet some of these people. So now those same people who we met, reached out to, built their bond with, when we got here, it's easier for them to come here now.
Yeah.
You know, they know about us. They know us well enough to come here. So God has always had his hand in the mix, even when we think it's not going good. And so that's how I met a lot of those players, by going to these places. The prayer was, I never forget, me and Denzel sitting in my living room, having a meeting. And the prayer was for God to enlarge our territory. Because my thing was South Jackson.
Yeah.
You know, that's where I'm from. I wanted to do South Jackson. But what I started to realize with God was, you want me to be bigger than just where I am, because it's about spreading you to the people.
Yeah.
And so if I'm only in South Jackson, if I can only reach South Jackson people, then that's great. But South Jackson will be the only people that's getting what you have. And God wants to reach the nation, the world. And so.
Well, I like to say it like this. I told you and Denzel, people will always come where the best is. You know, people will come all around the world to come to find the best restaurants. You know, E&L had been known for years of people saying, man, I'm going to E&L. They come from all over the country to come experience E&L.
Yep.
Well, I told you guys, if y'all have the best training, no matter if you're in South Jackson, West Jackson, or somewhere in Africa, people going to come where the best is.
Oh, yeah.
And so now, you seeing that experience now of y'all being the best trainers. People come from all over the area to saying, you know what, I gotta go South Jackson. It's not about South Jackson, it's the point of y'all being the best. So people want to come where the best is. And so that's the point of it. Like I said, the story of, and you still been able to spread the message around.
Oh, yeah.
Of God, you are great, because in the end of the day, you still come to this place. People, I tell folks all the time, you see on the wall, with God, all things are possible. This would not be possible without God intervening in every detail, from you know, your life or what you've been through, from the housing to God giving us this building, to God putting on people's heart to even give us the money for the courts and everything else. That's the whole story that we got to tell and got to share, that other folks realize, man, this God stuff ain't real. Like, he may not be real to you, you know what I'm saying? But for us,
you have to experience
he
it.
definitely is real.
And that's what brings it back to the whole experience. You can know him, but experience him, because, you know, since 1990, we've been, you know, doing, and I could read, I could quote you scriptures, I could preach a sermon to you. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't until I prayed 1,000 times, but it wasn't until I really experienced God, and with that came true belief, true faith. It got to the point I had to like scale back, because I thought I got too comfortable. What I mean by that is, God was doing so much for me that I started getting to the point where it was like, I don't worry about nothing. You know what I'm saying? And then I had to get to the point where, like, wait a minute, God, I'm getting careless now, because I was just, oh, Coach Charles, that costs $20,000. It don't matter, God will take care of it. Like, I just felt like it was nothing I could do, nothing I couldn't accomplish. And what really let me know it was real, a friend of mine, he's not into the church, he's not into it. But for him to tell me, man, I don't, you know, he's not a believer in God and all this stuff. He was like, but hey, it works, because it should be nothing that you feel like you can't do. You should have enough faith that you believe you can do everything, because, man, what y'all done is amazing. Like, nobody thought you could do something like that around here. And it's God. The glory of the story is God.
Amen.
The glory of everything we doing is God. Every time I walk in here, I don't care how I'm feeling. I don't care what's going on with me. This morning, I wasn't having my best morning. But when I walk in here and I look around and I realize everything that's in here, and I know one thing, okay, that's God. And so no matter how I'm feeling, no matter what's going on, no matter what my circumstance may be, he has enough power that, hey, I can change that in an instant. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could change that in an instant, that you can go from, you know, before I went on that retreat, I was sitting back wondering, how could I kill myself without it looking like a suicide?
Yeah.
So my kids could get the life insurance money, because I felt like, hey, I don't have anything, so maybe it's best if I'm dead. To where if some kids hear this, they'd be like, what?
Yeah.
Because they think that you don't have a problem in your life. Everything is great. You, Coach Charles, you so positive with us. You tell us so much. You always upbeat with us, but I had to go through it. I had to actually experience God truly for me to realize, hey man, your life is bigger than these circumstances that you got. What I have for you is bigger than what you see this circumstance here. As a matter of fact, you're in this circumstance because I want you to only lean on me and stop trying to lean on your understanding of what you think. Yeah. Just lean on me. And leaning on God is, like I tell people all the time, it requires a little crazy, because a lot of people gonna tell you crazy. Yep. When I was walking around in 2013, dressed like it was 2005, telling people, hey, I don't need your job, I'm gonna be a basketball trainer. And they were like, bruh, look at you. Yeah. You need a job. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm straight. And they were like, where you going? Oh, I'm gonna sleep in my homeboy car tonight, but I'm good. Like, I'm gonna sleep at the gym tonight, but I'm straight. I'm a basketball trainer. No, dude, but I knew what God told me. I knew what he showed me. I dreamed about this logo every day. And so when Rob made it and sent it to me, cause I didn't ask for it. Yeah. He just was like, hey, that logo y'all got, bro, you need a new one. Yeah. Cause you remember the old one? Yeah. And I was like, you know, I like our logo. What you mean? He was like, give me 10 minutes. Boom, send it to me, said, check that out. When I opened it up and saw it, I said, wait a minute. That's what God showed me 10 years ago. He didn't know that because I couldn't explain it. I couldn't say, oh, the logo gonna look like this, you gonna do it like that. He just made it. Yeah. He just said, this is what I did for you. And I was like, that's what I saw on that court God showed me in my dream.
Amen.
And it confirmed, okay, I'm in the right space. Notice now, he did that January 26, 2022. I had just got fired in December 31st, 2021. So when I'm sitting back in this funk thinking, man, life's not good. I just got fired. Man, what's gonna go next? And then this guy sends me this logo to say, hey, you need a logo. Here. That was God showing me, hey, you a step closer to where I told you now. And then real talk, I didn't even want to believe it then. Yeah. Because when he sent it to me, I was like, this is the logo God showed me. Wait a minute. The devil said, but you just got fired, man. And I was like, yeah, man, them folk fired me, man. I'm mad. And then Ross said, I'm gonna make you a flyer. I said, okay, now God, why this dude doing all this stuff for me? I don't know. But he made it. He said, post this at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Man, I don't want to do all this stuff, bro. I got fired, bro. I'm not in the mood. Posted it. I got like 400 shares, 5,000 or 6,000 comments, and I'm like, people were like congratulating me. I didn't know what for. I was just asking, like, what are y'all? I haven't done anything. What are you congratulating me for a flyer for? And they was like, I don't know. But it just looked like you're doing something big. I was already preparing this stuff. He was already ahead of me doing stuff. While I'm sitting back here in this funk, man, what y'all happy for me for? Man, why you? He already ahead of you doing stuff. And so, like I said, here comes March where it's like, hey, oh yeah, we got to start cleaning this building out. What building? Oh, this big building that God was telling you that you gonna have, that he was trying to show you while you were in your funk. Here it is.
Full circle. You said that happened on December the 31st. And now today is December 31st, 2020.
Wow.
You know, the fact that
it is.
God works. God, at the end of the day, we have thoughts and plans. I said, folks, God has his timing though. Mm-hmm. And it's beautiful now to say the last day of 2024, December 31st, to hear about I didn't even know that detail you said about they fired you that day. The full circle. Look what God has done in these years, in that short period of time.
Yep.
And like I said, the story is not done. The
It's
story
not.
is definitely not done. And so, any last words you got for the people before we close it out?
Oh man, Jess. The glory of the story, man. Always giving that glory to God.
Amen.
God is the glory. And so when you hear the glory of the story, that's basically the God in the story, the God of the story, the part that God is doing in your story. And also with that, I really got that from one of my friends, my boy Coke Boomaye. He said in one of his songs, I found the glory in the story, not the end in the beginning. And that stuck with me because most people are looking for the glory in the story at the ending when I get the triumph. But no, the glory of the story was the homelessness. The glory of the story was the failures in high school. The glory of the story was getting kicked out of school and college. The glory of the story was getting fired. The glory of the story was losing things and thinking I couldn't get it back. And God saying, oh, I can restore you with more. Because everything I thought I lost, I got back twice.
Amen.
I got back double. I got back much bigger than what I lost. And so it's just understanding that, hey, those adversities, one of the things I tell Jew all the time is God's favorites have a hard time. And this is what I leave them with. God's favorites have a hard time. And I say it like this because we're God's children. We all his favorite children. If somebody's your favorite and you're not spending a lot of time with them, you're not giving them time, you're not giving them the attention that they need, they're gonna start to do some things to make you give them that attention. Whether it's I'm ignoring you, whether if I'm just constantly getting on your nerves with something, whether I'm constantly piercing at you, calling, texting, I'm going to do something to get that attention from you. And so sometimes God will send us through these different things or make us go through these different things because he's just trying to get our attention so he can bless us. He's just trying to get you to say, hey, you're looking over there instead of right here at me, and I'm trying to take you to the next level. But you gotta keep your eyes on me. And so just remember the glory of the story is the part that God can do when it's getting hard. So when you get those hard times, when you have those adverse moments, remember, that's God in those moments. God's gonna get you through. Remember, God's favorite is having a hard time. So instead of locking in on that hard time, try to ask God, okay, God, what are you trying to show me through this? Where are you taking me to through this? And so that's what I just want to leave with the people. Just, don't let that hard time keep you from acknowledging God because he's still God no matter what.
Amen. All right.